right, hey guys, Mr. Kyle Myers Mathematics, and let's just jump right into it. I wanted to take a break from a series on doing Algebra 1 math worksheets to talk about prepping for school. There's a lot of students I'm tutoring right now that are getting ready for school, doing some SAT prep as well, but everybody's kind of starting to get ready for that next year. So wanted to make a little guide, just a quick little guide on how to get ready for school. This will be specifically geared towards math, but I'll talk about some other stuff as well, and you can kind of apply it to other subjects as well. So don't tune out if you're looking for just a general guide. You can apply this to the other subjects too, but that's going to be my focus. Another thing before I get into some of the specifics, to start with a big picture view here, would be if you're gonna get ready and you want to do well, that's why you're prepping, right? You want to prep so that you can do well. Um, then make it your decision, like do this now if you're a student watching this, to not settle for anything less than an A. Or let's say, for instance, if math is not your best subject, it never has been. Let's say the highest grade you've ever gotten in math class is a B. Okay, so then realistically maybe a B. But don't settle for anything less than your absolute best that you know you can achieve. Which for a lot of people, um, really it should be an A for most people. So don't shoot for anything less than an A, or let's say the highest grade you've ever gotten. Also, when you make that decision, you're saying you're not gonna quit. You're giving up on the idea of giving up. Don't don't quit. You gotta commit. You gotta commit to doing it. So do whatever it takes. When school starts, maybe you can set something up to check in with your teachers and like bug them at least once a week. Like set a reminder to bug them once a week at least on what your grade is and what you can do to either improve or continue to keep it at an A. So make that decision too, to regularly meet with your teachers or professors. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into specifics. So the first one would be the tech route, my favorite route, which really has to do with Khan Academy. Now, there's some other resources too. There is a free online textbook. I think it starts at Algebra 2. It's open source or something like that. You could Google it and find it. So I was gonna look it up before, but I was like, well, later on that website might go away and it might be replaced with some other free textbook resource. So it wouldn't really be worth it too much to write it down. I don't think Khan Academy is going anywhere. Maybe they could, but you never know. But just Google like free online math textbook or something like that, and it should pop up. So you can go check that out if you want an online math book. But this route, the Khan Academy route, Khan Academy, great free resource. First things first, sign up for that free account if you haven't already. I don't get paid to say any of this, by the way. Review the previous year with a quick test. So when I say quick test, it's like I don't know how many questions the test is. It varies. But go to the previous year, take the test, take the end of the year test again, just to kind of see where you're at, what you've missed, what you still remember, and remind you of some of the areas that you got stuck at. You don't necessarily need to go back and like redo those areas, especially if you're going from like geometry to algebra 2. Like if you got stuck on some of the properties of a quadrilateral, like that's really not going to hurt you in algebra 2. So I wouldn't bother too much with like going back to some of those specific topics, because even if they apply to the next year, you're going to be focusing on how they're applied in the new year. You're not going to be revisiting them exactly how they were in the previous year most of the time. So just to give you a snapshot of where you were at and what you still remember from the last year, I would take a quick test. Then take another test. I know, 2 tests. Yikes. But the thing is, this next one, the last one you want to, take it like you would normally take a test. This next one is really like a pre-test. Take the test for the upcoming class, the class you're about to take in the fall or in the spring if you're a college student or if you're taking a half year class or whatever. Um, yeah, you're going to bomb it. But that's okay. You want to take the whole thing so that way you can see all the different topics and don't try too hard. I mean, like look at it, try to figure it out, but if it take, like maybe set a timer if you need to or a stopwatch. And if you're looking at it and you can't think of anything after like 30 seconds to a minute, I wouldn't do anything else on it. You're just trying to get an idea, starting to wrap your head around the topics that are coming up in the next year. So don't take it too seriously. Do try to work out the problem if you can. But if you have no idea, at least like try to think about it for a little bit. Don't like immediately go to the next problem if you have no idea. Like look at it, try to analyze it. I would say minimum 30 seconds, maximum like minute and a half. So like a minute, give or take, would be how long you want to spend on each problem. So go ahead and do that for that upcoming test. Then, once you've done that, it'll actually update all the different practices and quizzes, skills, all that kind of stuff in Khan Academy, showing you which questions maybe you got a few questions right. Awesome, good job. So then it'll show where you got those questions right under the exact topic that it falls under. And that way you know, oh, hey, like I already kind of know this topic, but on this other topic, nothing. Then go back to the very beginning, right? First chapter with the quizzes, practices, and videos. You can start with the first quiz and then work yourself backwards from there like you just did with the test. Or you can just start from the very beginning, watch the very first video, then do the practice that goes with it, and then just kind of run through all of those. And you want to stay a chapter ahead. So I'm skipping to the last bullet on this guide here. But stay a chapter ahead. And I say exactly one chapter ahead because you don't want to be too far ahead, because then you'll start to forget some of the stuff that you might be on in class currently. So you don't want to be too far ahead, but you also want to be ahead enough so that when the teacher's starting to talk about stuff, you're like, well, I pretty much already have an idea of what the teacher's saying in class already. So when the teacher's trying to teach, you already have some amount of understanding of what they're talking about. So get every practice at minimum 2 purple bars. So that means that you maxed out, you got every question right on that practice. When you get every question right on a practice, it gives you 2 purple bars. There's a crown on top of that. This is how they currently do it. So if it changes, let me know in the comments below later on down the years down the road. But when right now when you take it, it gives you 2 purple bars, meaning you got the best score you possibly could. So that's 100% 2 purple bars. And every quiz will tell you the exact percent right you've gotten on that. Get everything 100%. Don't settle for less than an A, right? Like I was saying before. Don't settle for less than 100%. And stay exactly one chapter ahead. All right, tech route. And there's some other resources too that can kind of help with this tech route, and I'm actually going to talk about that later. This is the main thing that I would do if you're going to go, if you want to go more the tech route. If you want to go the no tech route or low tech route, book and printed resources, right? The classic, like have the textbook, have a workbook, and go that route, right? Sharpen your number 2 pencil, right? Go old school with it. So this is going to look kind of similar to the tech route because a lot of the same methodology applies here. Review your notes from last year. Now that would include the test. So if you were allowed to keep the test, the final exam, paper test or whatever, then that would include reviewing that as well. And if you could, just like with the tech route, if you could take another test, a printed test, if you find that online and print it out or whatever, then do that too. Take the test from last year too. But if you can't find one, then just review your notes and look at what you were looking at from last year. That way you can get an idea of where you were at from last year, help to refresh your memory a little bit, etc., etc. Buy the book for the class now. So ideally, what you would do is you would get the book that's going to be used in class ahead of time. There's a way you can do that. You just need to reach out to the school and guidance counselor, etc., etc., whoever your main point of contacts are. Try to reach out to several different people at the school that you're going to be at, and try to find out what that book looks like, and if you can get that ahead of time, or find out who published that book, and then you could go, Amazon or whatever, and find it online and buy it online, the exact same one they're using. And then what you can do is, if you buy it from somewhere, see what their like return policy is. If you're less than a month away from the start of school, you could buy it, and then once school starts, you can use theirs. You get your own copy for that you can use for the year. Um, then you could just return it, right, and get your money back or whatever. So you can kind of go that route too if you wanted. Um, but go ahead and get the book now. Go ahead and grab that book now and read the first chapter. I know it seems maybe kind of weird for a math book, but for any book for your class, right? This is, you can apply this to other subjects too. You don't have to do everything in the chapter. A lot of the different textbooks for class and stuff, they have you doing things all throughout the chapter. You don't have to do any of those things. Just read it like you're reading a novel. Just kind of, read through it. Don't skim, but just read it like how you would read a novel of fiction if you read fiction, or how you would read anything else. Okay, once you've done that, then go back to the beginning of that chapter and go ahead and complete the practices and things like that, all the way till the chapter review. Do the practice for the chapter review. Pretty much every textbook has a chapter review practice. Do that as well. If you are already doing really, really well with that, by that time you're getting every single question right. You don't need to go to the next step here that I have, but you could still if you wanted to. And that is to print out more practice worksheets. Or, alternatively, you could buy a workbook. There's a lot of workbooks out there that are paired with textbooks for extra practice, and some of them sync really well with the textbook. Like the workbook is made for the textbook to give you extra practice, to help bolster your understanding and get more practice means you understand it better. So check out some workbooks as well. You can buy a workbook to go with it just for some extra practice and things like that. Or just practice worksheets. You can go online and download print out worksheets online. You can just Google the title of the topic and find it and print out some worksheets. And then do those too. Make sure they have the answers in them, though, so that way you know if you're on the right track or not. Then do practice until you can answer 20 of each topic correctly, give or take. And there you go. Stay exactly one chapter ahead, right? So I just copy and pasted that one. Stay exactly one chapter ahead. Now, the other thing, too, is that I said about the tech thing is to take a whole chapter test. The other thing you can do, too, is in the book, read the first chapter, but read everything up to the end of the first chapter, meaning read all of the table of contents and everything, too. Read all of that so you can get kind of a snapshot of what's in the entire class as well. So do that with that we can get a snapshot view for that. Last but not least, resources, and there are some others. Let me know if you have some other resources that you like that you would recommend. I actually know some other ones that I didn't put in this list, but I just don't use them as much, so I didn't list them here. Khan Academy, obviously at the top of the list there. Real big fan of Khan Academy. I use them for both classes and for SAT prep. Kuta Software, they're really good. You can just Google stuff, and if it's by Kuta Software, the worksheet, it'll have the answers in it. All right, and sometimes the solutions too. So they're really good for worksheets. Paul's online math notes. This is for higher level math usually. He has higher level math stuff for like the calculuses mainly, Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3. I use him a lot for Calculus 2 and Calculus 3. Research brands of books and resources. So I didn't list any brands of books. There's so many out there, and a lot of them, some are maybe a little better than others. But if it's a textbook, it's like, I don't know. I don't have too much of a preference as far as textbooks go. So just do your own research there, and just figure out which one seems the best based on reviews and based on what certain review websites have to say about different brands of books and resources and stuff. Quizlet, that's great for memorizing stuff. A lot of, if you have a lot of vocab, things like that, like memorizing vocab words or math formulas. Algebra with Pizzazz, this is mainly just for algebra. Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, really. But Algebra with Pizzazz, a lot of fun little worksheets that have like a cute little one-liner, question and answer jokes in there. So just some fun little worksheets there. And then Kahoot. Kahoot is really good for practice as well. It's like a whole thing. Go check it out if you don't already know what Kahoot is, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Kahoot.it is where you would go to actually play the Kahoot. But if you want to set up the Kahoot to play, you would go to kahoot.com and you would find different Kahoots to select and then play those. And it's basically just a worksheet, basically a glorified worksheet, but it makes it more fun and more doable, and everything's like multiple choice and stuff like that. So definitely go check that out. Those are some of those resources. So if you found this video helpful, go check out some of my other stuff. I'm in the middle of a series right now on Algebra 1 worksheets, actually. So go check out some of those or some of my other videos. I do videos on every topic that I tutor, which is Algebra 1 to Calculus 3 and SAT Prep. So go check out some of that stuff, and go check out my website for more free resources and other types of resources, content, things like that, myersmathematics.com. Go check that out. All that's in the description below or at the end of this video.